Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a four-letter word that can build empires or, well, bring them crashing down. Debt.
You know, from the time we're young, a lot of us are taught to be afraid of debt, to see it as some kind of financial failure. But is it really that black and white? Is every single loan a step in the wrong direction?
We love to put things in simple boxes, right? Thumbs up for this, thumbs down for that. Good debt, bad debt. But the financial world, it's almost never that simple. The truth is, debt is way more nuanced, and figuring out that nuance is the key to turning it from a scary monster into a powerful tool.
Okay, so here's our game plan. We're going to bust the myth that all debt is bad. Then we'll break down the two main types, see how things can get a little messy, touch on how this all works for businesses, and then wrap it all up with a smart strategy you can actually use.
So let's start with the basics, the conventional wisdom. Traditionally, debt gets split into two big categories, and this gives us a really solid starting point.
What's really important here is the idea behind these labels. Good debt is supposed to be an investment. You're borrowing money for something that's hopefully going to grow in value or boost your income, like a house or a business loan. Bad debt, on the other hand, that's for stuff that loses value over time, usually with pretty high interest, like splurging with a credit card.
So, to put it another way, good debt is strategic. It's about leverage. You're using borrowed cash with the expectation of getting a positive return down the line, whether that's from a house appreciating, getting a bigger salary because of your degree, or, profits from a growing business.
And then, there's the other side of the coin, bad debt. This is what happens when high-interest financing meets stuff that loses value. Think about it. That brand new car is worth less the second you drive it off the lot. And those credit card balances with sky-high interest, they can spiral like crazy, digging you deeper into a hole without building any actual wealth.
But, and this is a big but, here's where it gets really interesting. That neat little line we just drew between good and bad debt, it's not set in stone. Not at all. Context is everything.
This quote just nails it. The crucial point is that it's not just about what you're buying, it's about how much you're borrowing and if you can actually handle it. Your own financial situation can flip a so-called good debt into a really, really bad problem.
Okay, let's take a mortgage. It's the classic example of good debt. But what happens if you stretch your budget to the absolute breaking point to get that dream house? Well, you become house poor, and all of a sudden, that good asset is a massive liability, creating a constant cash squeeze that puts your whole financial life on edge.
And it's the exact same story with student loans. Are they an investment in your future? For sure, if the income you make after you graduate can comfortably cover those payments. But when the debt is way too high for your career path, that good debt turns into a heavy burden that can put things like buying a house on hold for years.
So let's shift gears. How does this all apply to a business? For entrepreneurs, taking on debt is often essential for growth, but the same rules and the same traps are still there.
A massive mistake for businesses is mismatched financing. It's like using the wrong tool for the job. Using a short-term, high-interest credit card to buy a piece of equipment that's supposed to last for years? That's just a recipe for a cash flow disaster. And one of the absolute biggest no-nos is mixing personal and business loans. Suddenly, your own home could be on the line if the business hits a rough patch.
Okay, so if debt is a tool, not a monster, how do you make sure you're using it strategically? Well, it all comes down to knowing your numbers. Let's look at the toolkit. First up is your debt-to-income ratio, or DTI. Think of this as your personal financial reality check. It basically tells you how much of your monthly income is already eaten up by debt payments. Lenders look at this constantly, and you should too. A high DTI is a major red flag that you might be stretched too thin.
And next up, we've got the debt-to-asset ratio, or DTA. This one gives you the bigger picture, kind of like a bird's-eye view of your financial health. It compares everything you owe to everything you own. A low DTA is great. It means you have a strong financial cushion. A high one means a lot of what you have is actually financed by debt.
All right, let's put this all together into a simple four-step game plan. Number 1, know your limits. Actually use those DTI and DTA ratios to see what you can handle. Number 2, evaluate your goals. Be honest with yourself. Is this debt actually going to help you get where you want to go? 3, choose the best option. Match the loan to the purpose. And finally, number 4, minimize your costs. Shop around for the best rates, and please have a clear plan to pay it all back.
So in the end, that whole good debt versus bad debt thing, it's really just the beginning of the conversation. The real power comes from seeing debt for what it is, a financial tool. And just like any tool, it can build amazing things or it can cause a lot of damage. So the most important question isn't about the debt itself. It's about you. It's about your strategy. The goal isn't just to avoid debt, it's to master it. Because when you manage it with purpose, it becomes the leverage you need to build the future you want.